Hello and welcome to Cecil.tv, Cecil Weekly. It's September the 11th and I'm your host, Rob Churnside. I would like to tell you that September 11th, 16 years from this very day that we had the event in New York, and we're still kind of adjusting. Thank you to first responders, not only in September 11th, New York, but also in Texas and in Florida and right here in Cecil County. Without further ado, Elaine Barclay and Rose Hollenbaugh talking about Recovery Month and the Recovery Walk. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
What's Recovery Month all about?
Well, Recovery Month is very important. It's to show that people do recover from addiction and that people can find recovery. They find freedom from active addiction. They find that they can be a person that they've always meant to be, and that they can find that they can be a better version of themselves and that they can live their lives like they always wanted to.
So it's a celebration,
Yeah.
a month of celebration of recovery.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, please. And it culminates with the Recovery Walk?
Yes, that's
Yes.
the last Saturday of Recovery Month. September, the entire month is Recovery Month, and that's through SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. So it's nationwide, it's not just here.
Mm-hmm. And September 30th is the Recovery Walk, and it's going to be in Cecil County.
Right in Elkton, downtown Elkton, from 10 o'clock till 2.
2 o'clock.
So there's going to be a lot of fun there, a lot of
I
activities.
was there last year, and the whole parking lot behind the county, or behind the courthouse,
Yeah,
Circuit.
yeah, the same place, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Was
And
just taken over.
yeah, and then they walk up by the health department, back around by the hospital. It's a short walk. It's only a 2.5K. It's not a 5K.
Yeah.
So it's a fun time. Vendors, a lot of events.
Mm-hmm.
Fun things. One of the things I did want to mention this year, they're going to have some workshops. It's going to be interesting. Rose is going to tell us a little bit about them because they're brief. You want to talk a little about that?
Yes, we're going to have some workshops. We're going to have a Narcan workshop, the prevention of overdose workshop. At the health department, we have vocational counselor Melissa. She's going to have a workshop going on there. We also need some volunteers for that if anybody is willing to come and volunteer, we can always use help with that.
Yeah.
How would a person contact you to volunteer?
They can contact Elaine.
Yep. They can look for us. We have a Facebook page, the Cecil County Recovery Walk. They can leave a message at the health department for us. Just say we want to talk about the Recovery Walk. They could contact me at my job. I work a couple places. I work at the Haven House. I work at Serenity Health. Pretty easy to find. Just ask for Elaine.
Mm-hmm.
And Serenity Health is on Route 40.
It is
right?
on Route 40. Everybody says where the booty used to be.
Right.
It's easy to find. I'm there at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, so you can always get a message to me there. A lot of people aren't familiar with that place, but we, of course, are a treatment facility that also does methadone. We do counseling and whatnot there. Pretty nice place to work.
Full service.
Full service.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. I'd also like to mention, if I can, that the health department's number is 410-996-5106. That if you're interested in volunteering,
Yeah.
and that we do have a website that you can visit, rewriteyourscript.org,
Mhm.
for any information that you need on Narcan and any type of treatment that you're looking for, anything that way.
Right.
Yeah. Plenty of need for it.
Yeah, plenty need, and there's other stuff on that website that really is very helpful for somebody that's looking in for recovery.
A lot of resources.
Awesome.
A lot of resources.
For a guy like me, it would be 996-5106.
Yes.
996.
Great. So you, Rose, you're a peer recovery specialist, or is there?
I'm a peer recovery advocate for the Cecil,
Okay.
for the health department. And what I do is that we are individuals that are in recovery. We have experience with addiction, but we're in long-term recovery. And we bring people in that are looking for treatment or IOP, or whatever their needs are. And we talk to them before they go to a counselor, and we have lived experience. So sometimes that individual feels better talking with us.
Sure.
And just, letting them know that they're in a safe environment and that they can feel comfortable with us. And then we lead them on to the next couple processes through the health department.
Well, recovery is certainly something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And it takes a whole month because there's lots to celebrate, and it's hard work. And
Yes.
people who are in recovery deserve to celebrate
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
in the way that's geared towards recovery.
Yes.
It's positive stuff.
Yes.
And the whole thing, the walk is geared towards families. So, you know,
Yes.
you can come out if you have a family member that's been in recovery, or maybe you've lost a family member. We still welcome you to come out, and there'll be people speaking. There's going to be some type of entertainment. That'll be a surprise. And we do have one event I want to mention, super popular right now, is painting rocks. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? They're little stones. People paint them and leave messages on them.
Oh, we're very familiar with painted
Right.
stones. We have Cecil TV rocks
Yes.
too,
Yes.
hidden in the county.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
we're going to have a whole table just for that. People can come out and paint stones. It's all
Awesome.
free. It's free to attend. And so there's going to be paint and supplies there. So if anybody wants to come just to do that, we welcome them coming out, and then they can hide them.
Well, let's just hope all the hurricanes are gone and we have a great recovery walk September 30th,
September
correct?
30th, be at the Cecil County Circuit Court on Main Street by 10 o'clock. Have a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah, we want to show that Cecil County does recover.
Amen. Thank you both.
Thank
you, Rob.
And now, to talk about the upcoming rabies clinic and rabies day, right? Angie Scramlin. Angie, welcome.
Thanks, Rob.
So, go ahead.
So
Tell us
every
about it.
fall and spring we have rabies clinics. Our fall clinic always happens the first Saturday after World Rabies Day, which is September 28th. So this year our clinic is September 30th. It's from 10 to noon at the health department in Elkton. And, you know, we celebrate that just to help the celebrations for World Rabies Day. Around the world, 65,000 people a year still die of rabies.
No kidding.
So thankfully not in this country, because we regulate and follow up on every animal bite that's reported so that people survive. And vaccinations have helped to eliminate canine rabies in the U.S. So that's why they're important, because we can keep that up.
I also see a picture there of a cat too.
Yeah, so cats get rabies just like any other mammal, including us. We have actually had 3 rabid cats in this county so far this year. Cats can be almost more of a problem than dogs, because most of us grew up with Cujo, so we know and beware of a dog that's acting overly aggressive. But if someone sees a cat with the dumb form of rabies, where they're actually more docile and more gentle, but let's say they think they're injured because they're not walking right, they want to go help it, and they don't realize they're putting themselves at risk.
Right, right.
So often when we have people getting rabies shots, preventative rabies shots from cat exposures, it's because they were being a good Samaritan and they were trying to help that cat they thought that got hit by a car or got in a fight with another animal.
Right. But there's different stages of rabies. There's the aggressiveness and then the wobbly, stumbling around
Right,
stage.
and not all stable applies to every stage, applies to every animal. So animals either become overly aggressive or overly docile. So you have both sides. Some get wobbly, some simply get really thin and they look almost mangy. Some look perfectly healthy. So that makes it really difficult to know when you're encountering a rabid animal.
So, people should get their animals vaccinated. And it's relatively inexpensive.
It's $7 per pet. The vaccinations are good for a year if they've never been vaccinated, or if they've had any previous vaccination, then it's a 3-year shot.
That's a bargain.
Yeah, we do it every year, so twice in May and once in the fall, right after World Rabies Day, so that people can keep up and keep their animals up to date.
Well, mine are vaccinated, but let's spread the word, people. Get them vaccinated.
Get them vaccinated. Usually your pets are the ones to encounter the wild animals, and they're the ones that kind of come between you and them, and so they're your buffer.
Right, right. Well, thank you, Angie.
You're welcome. The one other thing I'd like to say is we do cats only from 9 to 10, because we want people to bring in their stray cats to get vaccinated. A lot of people care for stray cats, but they don't do well around dogs.
Right.
So from 9 to 10, cats only, 10 to noon, dogs, cats, and ferrets.
You've done this before, right?
Yes, I've been doing the clinics here in this county for 14 years.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. Keep the cats away from the dogs.
It makes for a more peaceful clinic. This year also we've been lucky. Cecil County Animal Services is coming to our clinics and offering low-cost microchipping for $10.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, you can't beat that.
you can't.
So that way if your dog gets lost,
It'll come back home.
Redo the dates. Tell the dates
September 30th.
September 30th, yes.
Yes.
Saturday, we're at the health department in Elkton from 9 to 10, cats only, and from 10 to noon, dogs, cats, and ferrets.
Okay. Round them up and bring them in.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
And now, before we introduce the man who needs no introduction, a couple announcements. This weekend, the Lower Ferry Festival is in Perryville. That's the 16th. So check that out. Check the town of Perryville to find out what that's all about. This fall, Cecil County Public Schools will be hosting drug prevention community seminars at each of the high schools. The first one is September 26th at Rising Sun High School. Check the ccps.org website for details. Finally, and we get into history here, Bainbridge Day is this weekend, Sunday, Main Street Port Deposit with the Navy Brass Quartet. Tours of the facility. I used to work there. It's a fascinating place. I encourage you to go there. That's this Sunday the 17th. And finally, for more history, Mike Dixon.
Hey,
Mike,
Rob,
welcome.
how are you?
What are we talking about tonight?
So, why don't we talk about the Armory tonight? You know, the state of Maryland has declared that an excess property, so it's a rather historic property. So I thought maybe we ought to spend a few minutes talking about that.
Yes.
Rob, that Armory that you see there, very attractive building on Railroad Avenue in Elkton, was built in 1915. And what they were doing was they needed a central headquarters for what was becoming our modern National Guard. So they built the thing, and it cost them just under $40,000 to erect. And since 1915, when young men from Cecil County went off to war, when they came back home, when there were major disasters, that was always the facility or the headquarters. And of course, we'll have to see what happens to it now that it's been declared excess property.
Well, I was Googling armories because I knew you were coming on to talk about this. In Maryland, there's 11 historic armories, and Elkton's is one of them.
Elkton's one. And even in Elkton, Rob, Elkton has a lot of buildings that could be on what is called the National Register, a list for historic properties. But we only have 4 buildings in Elkton. The Armory, Holly Hall, Elk Landing down in back of the detention
Right.
center, and then the Mitchell House that's one of the Revolutionary War era houses on Main Street. Now there could be a lot more, but it's one of our 4 identified resources now. And you know, if you travel around the state of Maryland or you travel around Cecil County, Elkton, we have a lot of historic homes that get your attention. But that grand, what would you call it, castle-like structure
Yeah.
absolutely looks like it. And just think of the things that happened there over the years. I mean, of course, it was the headquarters for the military. Opens in 1915. What, 2 years later, World War I comes.
Sure.
World War II. Those guys from World War II, boy, you talk about heroes who did their job.
Yes.
Those guys, you were talking at the start of the program here, Rob, about 9/11. Those guys were in Normandy. They were in D-Day. You know, leaving Elkton, leaving that armory, and so you know they've got a lot of history to their credit there. Oh, what else? So it was a social hall. Yes, they'd have dances because they had the big drill hall and stuff like that. But it had other uses too, like in December 8th, 1963, when the plane crashed, the big Pan American jet crash,
yes.
It was the morgue. I mean, it was the one place where you could set up facilities, and so it became the morgue as they sorted through that particular disaster. And today we know it as Lieutenant Colonel James Victor McCool Armory. He was the commander of our Elkton Company as they went on the beach in World War II and D-Day. And of
Right.
course later on in time they named it after him. And so it'll have a new future, and I guess we'll have to just see what that is.
So as excess property, it will no longer be used by the National Guard. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what it means. The military, the state of Maryland, the Maryland Department of Military has declared it as excess inventory. They no longer need it. So that makes it available for, well, practically anybody that wants to buy it. You know, if the county government or the city, or if you wanted to start a club or something like that, you could go into the marketplace and buy the property, and you'd have a grand-looking property with a lot of rich history.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's you probably notice when you drive by the Doughboy Monument out front.
Yes.
That's for the men from World War I. So same story. World War I comes just after that modern building had opened. There were 17 men who left there. Mostly went over to France. Some died elsewhere, but went over to France and would never come back home to Cecil County. And if you stop and pause at the monument now, you'll see 17 names chiseled into the stone. And those are guys that gave everything they had, gave their lives protecting the country.
I did not realize that they were no longer using it.
Yeah, and that's going on around the state. The nature of military, because every county had one. In fact, if you go to downtown Bel Air, their armory was declared excess inventory a number of years ago, and it's now used by the Downtown Redevelopment Authority and stuff like that. Bel Air, I think it's used by, not Bel Air, but Centerville, Queen Anne's County is used for some other purpose. So it's a very common type of thing right now.
Well, a building like that, they'll never tear it down.
It's a substantial
It would
building.
be really dumb to tear something
Yeah.
like that down.
I think it has economic value. If you wanted to put a restaurant, can you imagine a themed restaurant, clubhouse, something like that? But we'll have to see what that, as we add more to the story, we'll have to see what part we add to that. And somebody can have themselves quite a valuable historic asset in the community.
Well, you always have a good story to share with our viewers, Mike.
Well, thanks, Rob. Thanks for inviting me back in again.
Thank you, my friend. And now our musical segment. Musical announcements first. And there's a lot of musical choices this weekend. This Saturday, North Elk Coffee House at St. Mary Ann's Episcopal Church will be having Heather Pearson and her acoustic trio from New York City. $8 donation. Proceeds go to Meeting Ground. Snacks and all that stuff there. Up the road in Elkton, the legendary Tramps of Disco Inferno will be performing at Fall Fest with all the other activities. The Tramps go on at 6 o'clock till 7:30. Somewhere Main Street, North Street. And another musical announcement right here, live in the studio. My good friend, Cecil.TV, cameraman and regular Pete Bernardo. Pete, welcome.
Welcome.
So you're going to play some more tunes for us tonight, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna play a couple songs tonight. Did it a while back, but plan on hopefully doing a better job this time. So,
You did a great job last time.
nah.
And you know what's really cool is when people want to air stuff out, they can come to open mics, like the one that you and I will be at tomorrow.
That's right. Well, it'll be tonight though, because this is going to air tomorrow.
Don't confuse me, Pete. Okay? Tuesday
Time
at
warp.
Wesley
Okay,
House.
The time warp today at Wesley's is open mic night. Bring your instruments.
Tuesday. I'm going with Tuesday.
Every
Wesley
second
House.
and fourth Tuesday.
Right.
Of every month.
And people can go out there and try their material, jam, whatever.
That's right.
8 o'clock.
Have some fun.
Well, I'm looking forward to whatever songs you play tonight, playing them again tomorrow.
We'll do
How about that?
We'll
All
do
right.
it. Yeah.
Thank you, Pete. Let's get on with it.
All right, Rob. We got a few more days of summer left here. This is called Summer of Love. Was a hot and sticky day, and I went out to get some sun. And down the beach, I saw a fair-haired one, laying near the water, soaking up the rays. And as I walked up to her, she turned her head to say, "Baby, I've seen your face before. When you came knocking upon my door, it's a summer of love, and you're what I'm looking for." It was hard to imagine that this could happen to me. Just a few months earlier, there were no leaves on the trees. got a song called The Matter of Fact. Got a matter of fact for you, baby. Got a matter of fact for you, baby. Baby, I love you each and every day. 'Cause it's a matter of fact that I care how you're feeling today. I wonder about how you're breathing. I'm hoping that your heart is beating. Baby, I love you each and every day. It's a matter of fact that I care how you're feeling in every way. Got a matter of fact for you, and you know that it's true. Got a matter of fact for you, and you know that it's true. Baby, I love you each and every day. 'Cause it's a matter of fact that I care how you're feeling every day. I'm worried about you not smiling. I'm hoping that you're not feeling blue. I wish I could be there to see. Oh, maybe if there's something I could do for you. 'Cause it's a matter of fact that I care how you're feeling